Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you my Fusion Autodesk Fusion 360 toy guns. So this is what I have been. This is what this is what I made so far with everything I've learned. It's based off like an AR-15. It uses the gist of it is uses like a PVC pipe, which is like this long PVC pipe barrel over here. I'll show you the gist of it, and then sorry I put like attachments and everything on it. But this is just how this is where I've gone from this journey. But yeah, let me show you how I started from like the beginning. So here, I think one day I was just like I want to make like guns on Fusion 360 because I've made like the exo hands and stuff, but I decided to make this instead. Just try something new, and so I started off with like just making the very basic. Like this is like something you'll probably see on some like Roblox game, I'm guessing, right? It's just like you've got like an L-shaped pistol with the hole in the center as a barrel, and then you have like an open like grip with like a open like magazine holder there, like for the magazine. So yeah, it's pretty basic. Then I started to like just had like a step on type of thing. This is like it's a machine gun or a pistol with like a magazine in the front with the handles at the back, the grips at the back. So that's where I ended up as afterwards. Next setup was you have the same setup but with like a stock now. So this thing over here is just like an extended stock. Then we move over to like this, which is a bit more realistic. So you have the old one, which was basically just like something like this, but made it a bit more realistic looking. Let me explain it is like now you have a cylinder barrel from the front as a muzzle. You got a scope now. The magazine is a bit more improved. It's an actual magazine for it. So something like this you can actually. I don't know if I can move it down. Oh yeah. So yeah, something like this you can actually move it up and down. So decided to make like a magazine for this as well. So even more realistic than it was before. And then we end up at something like this. Some improvement from last time is that now you have a pipe over here as a grip. You have this block over here that represents like the flash or laser. Got your iron sight over here, so you can like aim down the scope and actually have a better like aim for targets. And then you have, last but not least, the suppressor. I did that in. And so this is just the first iterations of the toy guns I made for Fusion. So here is my first prototype. So here I've been tinkering a bit more than usual. So what happened now is that this is when I decided to get the idea. I had PVC pipes from my exoskeleton build and other projects, so I decided to just take a pipe as like the starting barrel, and then I added more details on this, something like this. So now I have like actual stock, more actual looking stock. You have a bio pad for stability when shooting. You have your rail system here. This block design over here is a bit wacky. It's like a wacky scope and like just the way it's made over here. So you now have like parts that actually. Oops. I don't think I take the magazine down over here, but yeah. So it's like I then made it so like I have a magazine over here, magazine holder, and then I have the grip over here. So the idea of this is just like later down the line, if I want to modify how the magazine, what type of like grip I wanted, I can do that. So that's my first prototype. Second one, this was pipe gun concept where I'm just using completely just pipes and using a couple of the parts I've used before, like this joint over here, stationary joint. It's made from my exoskeletons. And then there's this pipe, there's this part over here. So I kind of had that that design all together, where I had like the new thing, which is the stock suppressor and a different like biopad. So this is the gist of it, like just completely with pipes and stuff, and then I have like screws that go through these things, the pipes, and then the parts. Keep it all steady. And then I started getting a bit more into this. So at this point, I have the same gist of it, the biopad, the magazine holder. It looks a bit more realistic. The other one, which is just whack. This is just so bulky and blocky. And then I have a better handle over here, pistol grip. And then this is where it gets a bit more featurey with this rail system. It's a bit better looking rail than before. This is how rails look like usually. For actual like rail guns. I mean guns with rails. So it's like it's a quad rail on this, and so you have like a magazine, and you have your grip over here as well as an accessory. And then end up making something like this. Just customize it with like a paint job. So this is the AR-15. I mean based off AR-15. So I have a better scope on this. Just a smaller scope compared to the other ones, which are super long. Still have the same stock. It's all golden out. I think the colors may look a bit more interesting, and so I have like a laser over here. The suppressor is more octagon shaped, and then I have a grenade launcher at the bottom. So some over here now. I started getting a bit more into this, where I started improving some of my work. So this front part over here, like the upper receiver, the pistol grip all together, that got its own rail system, and it's just simply just that part that I improved on, and then added in the rail, the front rail, the barrel rail, the stock, the magazine. So it's all it is simply. So I just started off with like barrel 1, which is my 65cm barrel with stock 1. And yeah, I've just been just trying out different like stocks and barrel lengths to just see the looks of it. So this is it's like a longer barrel. I think it's my 70cm barrel or 80cm. Don't remember. But then I started at a different stock for this. So these are my fourth generation customizations for this now. So what I improved on was, so everything's was legit the same, but different like laser system, like different like these are just like features I added. They're not actual like things that I'll be able to like, make or have something like that. But I have a different stock for this. I mean different sight for this. The silencer is the same. The one thing that's changed about this is that this thing has a actual trigger and trigger guard compared to the other ones in a curved magazine. So it just looks a bit more realistic now. And so I played around more with different designs. So now have the same design except like the scope is different. So at this point I was just like playing around with like different like attachments, different styles of it. Let's just see how it looks, and just to make it look as cool as possible. Then I had this bad boy here. The same idea, but the longer scope is like a LMG. This idea. So you have a barrel mag. So you have a lot more ammo. You have a grenade launcher. So it just keeps everything the same, just different attachments. So the next design feature I improved on was now this one has a muzzle. So start adding a muzzle for actual looks, and then the rail is a bit more improved, a lot more holes. So I 3D print this, it would be it won't like use up a lot more filament. So this is the next improvement or next feature accessory, which is this part over here, like a shock absorber. That's the idea of it, so it's not completely like naked at the back with nothing. But it looks even more interesting this way. And some more improvements with this was, or I mean, like I added a shock absorber in the front, and these parts over here have like a hole in the center of it. That way, it's also like more of a efficient way to 3D print them compared to this one, which is it's all covered up. It's only like it's angled up to one side. This is angled like both sides for this, so it looks even more realistic. And then it even has like holes on the side for different add-on that would appear later on. And there's a different stock as well. Stock that can also have like different attachments to the back as well. So this is my 6th custom design. This is my 6th generation. So what the difference of this one is, I think it's just the stock. I'm just playing around with a different stock to make it look like a Scar L. Like as close to that as possible. I mean, it's still pretty cool, but not much really changed in this one. So just starting from here. So at this point, there's a different rail system because like the 3D printing issues. The original rail, if I start 3D printing it like with the barrel facing down and then going up, like a vertical 3D print, then those block pieces, I mean the squares in the rail, those wouldn't be able to actually 3D print properly. Otherwise, like the printer would be floating in the air while printing. That's not a good thing. So I made it so it's completely printable. So it's all the same, but it's a very small barrel at that point, so it doesn't really look that nice. But the idea of something like this, which is also yeah, the next thing about this design is now there's a lot more like different parts. Like now the grip has its it's like this whole design. The rail is designed in a way where different accessories can actually like be screwed in to each other, and so that way it can be like modified as well. So it's just it's all the same. And so this is my next version where I take the same idea, the same design, but now I make it so that there's different of these parts for the rail instead of like the whole rail system barrel has it in one, because my 3D printer is not big enough to 3D print at the whole rail that way, and this will make it a bit easier for the 3D printer to just make different parts instead of like one whole part. So that's the idea of it. And so like another feature I started adding was like side scopes on this, when you have like the iron sight over here and like a scope over here, so you can like turn your gun on the side and then shoot with this like scope. It's cool. It's a cool idea. I think I saw it from a different game, like a game, or sometimes they have like a scope on the side of the main scope, and then they shoot on the side. Like there'd be like a short scope and like for a long scope. Yes. So yeah, that's the idea of this. I think this one is the same. So here you have like now a magazine holder accessory. Everything's a bit more individual in its own, like every single part. so most of it doesn't really stay in like none of it's like a one piece sort of thing. So that's something I need to improve on as well. This is just a bit more accessorized version of it. The same old scope before, the long scope. This scope, it doesn't really work. It's just aesthetic purposes. I want to be able to 3D print this in any sort of way, unless it's like using supports. But nah, I'd rather make it look. I'd rather have it 3D printable as best as possible instead of just making it aesthetically pleasing. So yeah, this one just has the same gist as before. Oh yeah, different like pistol grip over here. And I think this is like the generation where I left off at, where I started making everything a bit more like this. So I have another one over here. It's a bit shorter. I think I use a 50cm barrel. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, so this 8th gen is, the difference of this is that both of there's two barrels. So the barrel for the front, I mean the rail for the front is a bit shorter than the one over here. This way I can have a larger barrel because for a larger PVC pipe, and have it so that the attachments are easier to be put together compared to this one. Yeah, that's the gist of it. It just doesn't have any other, like, it doesn't have like the inner barrel for this, just the rail barrel. So this leads us to the 9th generation. These are supposed to be like the most practical versions yet. As in, I'm able to 3D print every single part, and it'll all work, and then it'll all come together. The only problem is there's just a lot of parts, and so you need like a lot of screws to actually screw them all together. So I mean, I guess that's a problem. It's that sometimes you want to have it so there's less parts to fit together. This one just has multiple parts, so just having it all come together, that can be a challenge as well. That brings us to the final. This is still a custom 9. So these are all just what I call first generation block guns, second is prototype. There's default version 1, custom version 1. So default is just like everything with like no attachments and whatnot. Customs are like you have attachments, but like just numbers correlate with like the different versions of them there are. It really depends on like what's new with those. So everything has like a different story to tell. But yeah, this one will still go with like the 9 custom, which is a bit interesting. I thought like 7th custom is also very practical, but there's a bit of like tiny like improvements made, so like 9th customs are like a lot different. Something like this. The scopes, I want to make them a bit more practical as well. Have them so that they can also have attachments. Like everything has attachments. Like scopes have attachments, rails have attachment. Like rails. Like everything has the. I mean, like the rail system has this sort of part over here to actually have attachments, and the scopes have a rail. The stock has a rail. Like everything just has a rail for attachments. Like the magazine holder is a bit more curved over here. Let's make it look a bit nicer. Different trigger over here. But something like this is I don't think it'll actually be possible. I mean, it is possible to 3D print this stuff, but at the same time, something like this long piece over here. Yeah, that's how far I've gotten. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.